Founders need a deep purpose, a North Star to help them navigate the murky waters of founderhood. And today's guest took his passion for supporting purpose-driven, diverse founded startups and created a pre-seed to seed stage venture capital fund. I'm so excited for you to meet this amazing founder and investor. So stay tuned for the Startup Life live show. Let's glow. Woohoo! Hello and welcome everyone to the Startup Life live show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I know what you founders are crawling through on a daily basis to bring your vision and create the successful outcome you hope to achieve. And I am so grateful that you tuned in and carved out time to up your founder game while cheering on a fellow founder. You know, when we hear other founders' startup stories, their fails, their wins, their solutions, and their inspiration, we get better at what we're doing. And when we get better, our businesses get better, right? So I'm so grateful that you tuned in, and please like the like button on this video wherever you're watching it from. And if you're tuning in from YouTube, please share your subscribe love and a click on the bell icon for alerts. And if you resonate with the show's mission of amplifying diverse founder voices while serving first-time founders around the world, please reach out to me to learn more about how you can make a greater impact in the startup ecosystem through partnering with the Startup Life Live Show. Email me at Ande@andelyons.com. All the links will be in the show notes. And to receive an alert whenever I post a new show, please join the so wonderful group of folks over at the Startup Life Live Meetup group. That way you'll receive an alert whenever I bring a new guest on board, like today's guest. We're going to learn so much from this wonderful man. Let me just put this up here while I read a little bit about the so amazing Kevin Withane. He's the founder of Diversity X, a pre-seed to seed stage venture capital fund in the works to support UK and European-based underestimated founders of purpose-led startups and tech startups focused on solving issues around diversity, equity, and inclusion. While he's building Diversity X, Kevin is a purpose-led senior lawyer and ethics and compliance executive at an FTSE 250 company. Kevin has lived and worked in the UK, China, Hong Kong, Russia, and the United States, and he's traveled extensively across Europe and Asia, where he has gained deep insights into the shift towards human leadership and the demand for business to align their purpose with making a world a better place for everyone. Oh my gosh, I don't want to wait another second. Let's give a round of applause and a huge hearty welcome to the one and only Kevin Withane.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you for having me, Ande.
Oh, I'm so happy you could join us all the way from the UK, correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh
I was
my
actually
gosh.
not far from you for quite a while, but decided to return back home. Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, those of you tuning in, let us know where you're hailing from. And before I get started, how much do we love this woman?
Heart, mate. Heart. She's my unofficial mentor. She doesn't know it, but she is.
There we go. So you know what I decided today? Folks, Kevin and I need to give away a free copy to someone who's watching today. So to enter to win, type in the hashtag Startup Life in the comments. And at the end of the show, we will pull a winner. You know, StreamYard makes it really easy here. You know, it gets added to the stream. We have this whole thing. I pull the button and everybody's name goes flying around. It's so exciting. And a winner will be announced at the end of the show. So be sure, again, to put in, I'll just grab this little banner right here, hashtag Startup Life. And I'll be sharing this along the way as we're chatting. Just want to say hello to a few folks who are tuning in today with us, Kevin, all the way from Ottawa, Canada, the one and only Brent Manuel, sending warm love to Boston. Thank you. It's polar vortex here. We're freezing. Yet, you know, Thursday it'll rain and then Friday it will snow. It's just so crazy. And we just got over a foot of snow. And Mia Voss from Denver. Hey, Mia. So happy to see you. Be sure to type in the word hashtag Startup Life in the comments. You could be a winner today of Arlan's book. And hey, Ashley, so nice from Barcelona, Spain. Oh, you're a huge fan of Kevin. Yay. And she's got Startup Life in there. Woo, woo, woo. Ashley, so nice to meet you. Yay, yay, yay. Kevin, I found you on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw some of the wonderful things that you were sharing about what you wanted to do and your goals. And I hopped onto LinkedIn. Folks, Twitter is my favorite bar. You can put the political stuff aside and you can connect with amazing founders, amazing investors on Twitter. And, I have lists. So anytime you want to follow any of my lists, you can meet even more. And so I hopped onto LinkedIn, connected with Kevin and just said, please, I'm so excited to hear what you're up to because, folks, who launches a venture fund? Really? It is not easy to do. There's a lot of things going on. Hey, Olgie, so happy to see you. Hey, be sure to type in the word hashtag. Let me just bring this up again, okay, folks? I think I'll do the visual here. We're giving away a copy of Arlan's book. If you don't already have it, Olgie, type in the word Startup Life in the comments, okay? And we'll be selecting a winner today. So happy to see you. Hey, Kevin, Olgie has a heelless running shoe technology. So
Cool.
he too lived in China while he figured it out. His family just sent them away with their last savings. Oh, it has to be hashtag Startup Life Olgie, okay? Just one word. And so his family sent him off and he had to figure out how to pull the shoe together. So you've lived in China. You know what that's like, right?
Yeah, the place is it's actually an underrated but hotbed of talent if you can find it. It's a land of opportunity, that's for sure. It's like modern day the Wild West.
Right. Perfect. Yep, it really is. So remember, everybody, while we're talking away, put in the word hashtag Startup Life. Okay, put it down there. And we will have a wonderful, StreamYard does this wonderful thing that I can just spin the wheel, so to speak, and a winner will be chosen at the end of our delicious conversation. You nailed it, Olgie. Yay! Okay, so let's get down to the questions because I am such a curious person and I'm just dying to know, like, what called you? Like, what was that moment when you said, gosh darn it, I'm going to create a venture fund for diverse purpose-led startups? Was this your first entrepreneurial adventure? Was this your first time ever putting a stake in the ground?
Great question. I'll answer the second part of that question first. Was it the first entrepreneurial venture? No, it wasn't actually. So when I was at university, actually, I'll start even a bit younger than that. When I was
good.
at secondary school. So my dad used to work at a place called Macros, which was the equivalent of Costco, right?
Yeah.
It's a European version of Costco, I guess. And he was responsible for security there. And they used to have tubs of sweets, candy, penny sweets, which they were going to get rid of. So I used to say, can I have them? And then I'll take them to school. Obviously, I've not paid for them, so I'll be selling them at half the price of the local shop, but undercutting. There was another little boy who used to go and buy them from the shop, so he had to spend his money, whereas I was getting it for free. So there was this little rivalry of a unofficial tuck shop because that wasn't allowed at school. But I guess that was the first sort of entrepreneurial venture. And then while I was studying, I walked the streets of London with my resume or CV, handing it out to all the different law firms. The big law firms just didn't look at me. But the small sort of family practices and small practices, they said, well, why don't you come and do some clerking for us? So it was freelance. They could pay me cash and they would work around my schedule. So I started doing that. And then a few of them were like, why don't you come and do this? And it's like, well, I can only do one role at a time. So I started recruiting some other students. And so I guess that was my sort of second entrepreneurial journey.
I love it. I'm always curious because, some people are hustling like you did, in elementary school and they're much younger, or some folks are raised by entrepreneurs and are still willing to become an entrepreneur. But also,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And very
And also,
brave of them.
that's right. But also, I think the majority of founders are so compelled to solve a problem, right? That it's like, no matter what, I don't care how I have to suffer through this, because, this is not an easy journey, right? Founders. So, you just felt called, and I want to know more about it, because I want to know, why is an impact driven business model important to you? And why is this your North Star? And how your purpose will differentiate Diversity X from other venture funds, which are springing up left and right all the time now. So
Yeah.
that's a 3-part question. Why are impact purpose-led companies important to you? And how did this become your North Star?
I guess my daughter was taken away when I was in China to Taiwan by my ex-wife, and so that impacted me a lot.
Yes.
But probably in a negative way, in the way I behaved. And I met my now wife, and we were in Asia, in Hong Kong. I was constantly traveling, but stuff inside wasn't right with me. I didn't feel good. I didn't know why. So after we'd moved to the US, I ended up going and get some counseling and sort of peeling back the onion of the self. And I realized, I guess I'd lost sort of who I am through part of this, through, I guess, some of the experiences, and work was hiding that for me because I was doing okay. So I'd bury myself in it. But I wasn't really a good person, I don't think. And I needed to find the person I truly was. So I started peeling back.
Yeah.
And then I started reading everything I could. I was like, I've sort of stumbled across conscious capitalism. I can't remember why. I just started reading different things, and it was like, have you ever done these Spotify journeys where you go from song to song to song to song to song?
Yes.
Well, that's how it was in my reading. It's like, okay, someone's mentioned this, so let's go and get that book, read it. And I came across conscious capitalism, right? And I thought, this is what I am. I believe in this. Like, I believe in the sort of capitalist values, but we have a duty to take care of people because we're all human. We have to do more. We can do more. And I don't really care whether people call it socialism or communism. It's just, we're humans. People need help. Let's help them.
Hold on. I got to say, that is so beautiful, everybody. I'm just having one of these. We're human beings. Let's take care of each other. Yes, when you launch a business, and this is, I believe, Kevin, what you're talking about with conscious capitalism, yes, you're going to probably change things generationally for your family. You may even feed some people in the community through employment, right? Working for you. Or as you grow and you get really big, it's not always about the shareholders. Yes, you want investors to come in, but you want them to come in, get a proper return on your business, right, Kevin? And yet still be taking care of each other. Talk a little bit about what you learned from that conscious capitalism approach.
Yeah, it's about what I call human-centric leadership. So focusing on the people within the organization, because ultimately every company says our people are our greatest asset. Nobody goes, our technology is greater than our people. No, our people is always greater than everything else within an organization. So why don't you focus on your greatest asset to get the biggest return? And ultimately, they're the people. It's your people that are going to deliver your return. So if you treat them well, it's like saying, having a nanny come in to look after your children. Would you treat that person badly? And if so, why? Because they're looking after your baby.
That's
your
right.
Child. That's essentially like, isn't that your employees? They're looking after your baby, your business, and you want to nurture them. You want them to grow so that they invest in that business themselves with their soul, not for the paycheck. Because if you've got paycheck players, you've just got mercenaries.
That's right. I believe that with all my heart and soul. And I'm so glad that you pulled that into like that beautiful nugget. And, Aristotle is tuning in. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your hashtag Startup Life, Aristotle, calling and purpose. And Karishma, hi, Karishma. So happy to see you here today. Thank you for joining us. She said total facts. And she's entered to win the book with Arlan Hamilton. This is so wonderful. And Aristotle, you were always so thoughtful in your work in the world. And you're right, stages of development are often driven by life events. And in fact, there's a wonderful chapter in Arlan's book that talks about how our lived experiences serve us and how important that resiliency is. And I really was able to heal this at this stage of my life, way down the road, heals a time period that I had where I really was not forgiving that woman from 18 to 24. Like, why did I go off and do those things? And so part of your journey too, right, Kevin, was peeling back the onion, forgiving yourself, and then owning what you wanted to do. So you read Conscious Capitalism, and you're practicing law while you're doing that?
Yeah, I'm still at the same company. I was based in Detroit at the time. And I shared that book with a friend of mine who had spent some time in Japan. He's married to a Japanese woman. He said to me, do you know what? This sounds a little bit like ikigai. So I was like, what is this?
Oh, that's that chart.
Yeah, but really
that Venn diagram like thing.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity in 2019. I didn't get to see my daughter one summer. So I was like, my wife was like, you need some time. Just go to Japan. You're in Asia anyway. Go to Japan. So I was like, okay, well, I'd read this book about people who live to 100, and like I wanted to find out about people's ikigai. So I had one day. So I went to Okinawa Island, which is beautiful, really expensive. I landed there after meetings, pretty late, went for this amazing dinner. The people were so hospitable. And then I had to take 2 buses. It was a 3-hour journey to this village that had been talked about in this book. And then when I got there, I was like, I don't really know. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been traveling for 3 hours. I don't really know what I'm going to do. So I started walking. The weather wasn't very great. And then this old man came out to see me. He's like, what are you doing here? And he spoke pretty good English. So I said, I'm here to find out about ikigai and try and meet some people who are over 100 years old and ask them why they're so happy. So he invited me to the town center, which was like basically a small convenience store and I guess a little hall, a community hall. And he said, you came on a great day, except that the weather's so bad. We've cancelled our biggest festival of the year, but do you want to hang out? So he took me around the village, took me to his daughter's house and got me to help him fix his daughter's toilet, took me to his best friend's house, and then took me to his house. And we spent like 3 or 4 hours together just talking. And he was saying to me, he's lived in that, well, he grew up in that town. He went away when he was in the military, but all his friends that he grew up are back there. And he said, obviously, the Okinawa itself has changed because you've got a US military base there and from the war. But he said, essentially, the people he grew up and went to school with are still there and they're still friends. And he just said it's basically about being a simple life and doing stuff you love, which is what his friend was working in welding bits of metal to make gates and fences. And I said to him, how old are you? And he said, oh, he's 87 years old. So I had that experience, and then I had this
incredible.
It was amazing, life-changing in some senses.
Wow. And so I'm just going to pop some comments into the comment thread here for everybody about, because I can never pronounce it myself correctly, ikigai.
Yeah.
Ikigai. And folks, and I will add something to the show notes as well so you can go deeper, but this is a Japanese people believe that the sum of small joys in everyday life results in more fulfilling life as a whole. And the word means both lifetime and everyday life. So ikigai, translated as life's purpose, is wonderful, right?
Yeah. And I guess that's what I was trying to work out. I was trying to find what's my purpose in life. Like, I'm a corporate lawyer. That's great. It gives me a very good life and I work with some amazing people. But what am I meant to do? And then I realized what I was meant to do. It was to use my skills to help other people make the world a better place.
Yes.
So that's what I set out to do.
It goes more, everybody, from just I'm going to have to get one of the ikigai diagrams for the show, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. So it's a Venn. And so it's like what you love, what you are good at, what can you be paid for, what the world needs. And I think that's the one that's really missing in that 3-1 Venn that we've seen so much. And then you have passion, mission, vocation, and profession, where all of those meet. Right in the center is ikigai. So I think that's very, very powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kevin, because that now it became your North Star. And this is why you became very committed, and why many of you founders are out there have that ikigai in your heart, right? You want to make a difference. You want to solve a problem. You care deeply about the people for whom you are solving the problem for. I love that. Oh, thank you, Karishma. Ikigai is an absolute treasure of knowledge. Yay. Well, we're uplifting everybody here in the Startup Life Live show. So you took that idea and you said, okay, I'm going to create a fund. And so,
Well, not
oh
yeah, it
no,
wasn't
there's more to
quite
it.
that. There's
Okay.
more to it. So then I came back. It's like, okay, I know what I've got to do. How can I do it? Like, am I getting that from my day job? And the answer was no, because there were elements of it that I just wasn't satisfied with. I needed more. There's other things I wanted to do. Diversity, equity, inclusion had already been a big part. I started studying it. My wife, actually, I remember she was like, just pay for the course, Kevin. Just pay for the course. You're talking about it. Just do it. So I was like, okay, I'll sign up, and did it. And then just actually after I finished it, George Floyd was murdered. And then I was in America at the time, in Detroit, probably a couple of miles from the city limits where we lived. And you could hear the helicopters going over and over. And I'm sitting in bed with my wife, who's white and English, and we were looking at this stuff, and I was like, over and over and over, and I was like, this doesn't sit well. I can help people with diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Yes.
but I work full time. I'll do it pro bono, but I can only work then with people who genuinely want to do it, not tick boxes. I don't have time for that.
Yep.
And then I started thinking, at some point I'm going to want to build a portfolio career. So get to 2021, I'm like, okay, let's try and find communities of portfolio workers. So then went through this sort of program with them. And then I realized, hold on, I could do consulting on the side, but I'm not scalable. And scalable means I can help the people, like startups. I get energized by them. Founders are energetic because they're trying to solve a problem. And for me, I've got to use my skills to help them make the world better. Great, but I'm not scalable. And here's the crux of it. I have 3 mixed race children. 2 boys, one's 5, one's 10 months, but I have a daughter. She's 11 years old. She lives in Taiwan with my ex-wife. And for me, she can potentially go to work in 7 years' time. I only have 7 years' time to make it a bit better for her, because it hasn't actually been easy for me, despite how well I think I've done. Like, the world hasn't been easy. So, and she's at a bigger disadvantage than my 2 boys. And I just can't have that. So I need to help people, and the people I need to help are the founders, because they're the ones who are accelerating change. They're trying to solve world problems, and they tend to have organizations that are willing to embrace being more inclusive. So let's just work with them. Let's support them. So that's what sort of got me to, right, well, the only way to support them is with capital, with community, capital, and ecosystem. So that's what I'm going to do.
Community, capital, and ecosystems. Wow, I love that. And folks, the reason that, one of the many reasons that Kevin and I are so passionate about Arlan's book, okay, be sure to, if you're tuning in, be sure to put in the hashtag, post the hashtag Startup Life into the comments to enter to win a free copy of Arlan's book, is because Arlan, everybody, was the antithesis of what you see in VC funds. Okay. She was a member of the LGBTQ community. She's 6 foot tall. She's a woman of color and has a high school education. That's it. There's no pedigree degree with this woman. And so this is why Kevin and I are so inspired by her, because did you know when she closed her fund for Backstage Capital, she was living at the airport and getting her Wi-Fi from hotels and coffee shops. Okay. So if Arlan can do it, you can do it, Kevin, and anybody watching, you can do it. Right?
Absolutely. It's hard, but you know what? Everything in work life is hard, and
you've given yourself a time period. And clearly your lived experience between being a dad of 3 mixed race children to wanting to meeting people from all over the world and really getting clear about conscious capitalism and how these people are these type of founders are solving problems that make the world a better place. Now you've got to figure out the nuts and bolts. And I'm sure in the UK, it's probably different as far as nuts and bolts legally than it is here in the US. But did you take any classes or courses to learn about how do you launch a VC fund? What's a minimum amount that you need to raise? How do you get folks in? We're going to go a little deep here.
Yeah, this is I've been trying to read as much as possible, everything I can get my hands on. I attended a few courses that people recommended. There's another one I'm going to be attending hopefully later this year. I also did a sustainability course because that's important, and I want to understand when people talk to me about sustainability, I want to understand fully what they mean, how they see it, and does that gel with the way I see it. So yes, read Arlan's book actually has a ton of it has a reading list.
Yes, it does.
Has a reading list, and her website is an entire thing. I've now started with Future VC, so it's actually to help people from, I guess, underprivileged backgrounds get into VC. So they have a ton of learning there as well.
You know who's really great to follow? A fellow attorney, Ed Zimmerman. So if you're following him follow him on Twitter, okay? Because he's a VC attorney and he is absolutely devoted to diversity in VC. And he's always sharing great advice as well. Hey, look who's tuning in to say hi to you. Go ahead and read that, Kevin.
Hey, Stanley. I work with Stanley. He's an amazing human being.
Tell me more.
So Stanley and I actually knew each other for a little while. I saw Stanley speak at this conference. He actually has I keep telling him he should do more with it, but he has this. It's a non-profit. It's called the White Hat Guys. It's really about focused on putting the cool into compliance to make compliance a bit more interesting. And he does it in a really creative and fascinating way. And then when the opportunity came to hire someone in Asia, I went and spoke to him initially. Secretly, I wanted him to say, yeah, I'll be interested. But I said to him, Stanley, do you know somebody? And then he said, yes, he does. He'd be interested. Like, tell him more. So we went through a process. He met my colleagues. And then I didn't think it was going to work out. But thankfully it did, and he's been with us now actually I think it was 3 years. This last month was 3 years.
Oh, yay. Awesome. Well, remember, we love to amplify your brand, folks. So any founders listening, please put in your business name, your one-liner, and your URL link, and we will pop it up here on the big screen and just celebrate you and all that you're doing in the world. So we're celebrating you right now, Stanley. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you're doing in the world. Okay, so you're taking these classes, and every VC fund has to have a thesis. So we're getting a feeling for yours. Did you have to put it together into like one line? What will be your investment thesis?
So the investment thesis is Diversity X is there to support underestimated founders who are making a positive impact in the world through community, capital, and an ecosystem.
Great, right there.
Diversity. I actually changed it from that a little bit because I think the newer one sort of captures it.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. That gives you a little rough idea. And remember, this is in the works. You don't just go, I'm going to do a fund and then you raise it and close it, right, Kevin?
No, and it's extremely hard work. And I'm doing this obviously on the side. I've got a full-time job, which has got a lot of responsibility at. So spend my evenings. I have my first LP, which is my wife. I tell people that and they laugh at me, but it's the genuine truth is without her support, I just couldn't do it. I can't sit in bed and be on my phone messaging and researching and stuff like that. So honestly, she is the first LP because the amount of investing is huge.
I love that. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, those people, your beloveds who sit there and support you are so important. We all need folks to be cheering us on. All right. It's best if you can hang out with some founders, right? But at the end of the day, it's great. And we have Stockholm, and you remember to put hashtag startup life. Thank you in the comment section. I don't want to do a terrible job on pronouncing this person's name. Do you know them, Kevin?
Yeah, Inguet. She's in the community.
Oh,
I
that's
have information.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in. Kevin's sharing the best stories. And also, Aristotle, thank you. He's creating askaristotle.co, a business accelerator to help business founders do what they need to do. Thank you. Thank you. And I got to tell you, one of my favorite UK founders who was just on the big unicorn TV show, Nikhil Segal. Woo! From
Great.
London. You two have to meet Kevin. Nikhil, started off with a twinkle, a business, a thesis, for his company. Oh my gosh, Nikhil, it just went right out of my head. Vast Minds. Yay, Vast Minds. And so Vast Minds is telemedicine. He's
Okay.
even going to help it so that you can track folks who are doing space travel and track their health. Phenomenal founder, and just had a great time on the show and getting some other great investors. So thank you, Nikhil, for tuning in. We're giving away Arlan's book today, and it's About Damn Time. It's a wonderful copy. Everybody put hashtag Startup Life in the comments, and we'll announce the winner at the end of our delicious conversation. So you had your investment thesis, but then you've got to start acquiring investors, limited partners. What are your approaches? I know the second fund that Arlan did, she did it on Republic's crowdfunding. Folks, she I don't know, I can't remember if it was 5 million or 1 million, but she was subscribed within a very short period of time, 24, 48 hours. And so what methods are you using to bring investors, accredited investors, into your portfolio?
That's a great question, because I guess that's exactly at the stage I'm at now. So I do have to be a little bit careful what I say, because I don't want to get in trouble with the FCA before I even get started. So I won't be able to help anybody if I do.
Yes.
But putting that into context, so the vision I have is the investors. I need genuine people and genuine organizations who believe there is an opportunity to, one, give people the support that they need and give some equality with the allocation of equity or capital, more to the point. So I would, as far as I can, want to build the fund. I say build the fund in the face of the people that we're going to be investing in.
Nice.
But I want female investors. I want people of color investors. I want LGBTQ plus investors. I want them first, because if I can fill a fund with as many of them, it's not going to be a tick box. It's not going to be this small, we'll allocate a little bit of capital to these guys to see how it goes. I want people who believe in this, because ultimately the aim of the fund is just the start. Fund one. This is just fund one. This is a firm. Diversity X will be a firm. Fund one is going to get us started. But I do hope that founders that we end up investing in, or people within the community who do really well, go, this was a great journey, but we do need to change the industry. So we're going to flip the side, and we will go on the investor side. Either Kevin will invest in fund 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it is, or we love the model, Kevin, but we've got our own little niche that we want to do. That's okay. It doesn't really matter, because as long as they're supporting the underestimated founders, that's all that I care about. Because the vision for the fund is that a world where there is no such thing as underestimated founders.
Oh my gosh. I just, take that in, everybody. A world where there are no underestimated startup founders. Equal playing field. Mm-hmm. That is what we all hope for and look for. And I love that you are using this filter and you're being very clear. And is it, are we able to talk about numbers? I mean, I don't know what the rules are, because, some people are like, oh, invest. What, I have to have 500,000 to invest in your fund? Can we talk about dollar amounts? Like, will you take a minimum of a certain amount? I mean, again, I don't want to get you into trouble. Or is it best to have people email you?
Have people email me. If they're passionate about wanting to know more, then message me and we can talk and we'll work something out. I'm looking for a partner as well. So, if there's anybody who wants to just get involved, jump in and just go, let's do something for the next 10 years and maybe even more. Let's do it.
Kevin, Wait till you meet this phenomenal man from the Boston startup community, Oliver Sanchez. He is the founder of a phenomenal fund, the Accel Group, and they help Latinx companies expand into the US. And as he's saying this wonderful note, he says, "Congrats, Kevin. We reached the commitment target on our first fund focused on Latinx founders looking to expand in the US. Happy to share ideas, deal flow, passionate about inclusion as well."
Amazing.
Hashtag startup life.
Amazing.
Yay, Oliver. Thank you for that. Isn't that great?
Amazing. I love hearing stories about this.
Oh, Oliver is just like, I'm just crazy about him. He was joining me on the show a little over a year ago. I miss you, Oliver. I can't wait to see you in person. And yes, I'd be happy to mentor, by the way, for what you're doing. And so I'll make sure I share Oliver's contact with you, Kevin. And this is, again, folks, this is the beauty of having a live show like this. Folks can come in and help each other. And it's a wonderful platform here and our ability to do it. And Stanley, yes, truly admire your drive about creating equity. Nice. Okay, so now all these parts and pieces, folks, when you start a fund, you have to decide, what fee are you going to take? Will it be front loaded, meaning when people invest in the fund, you're going to pull out your general partner fee for managing the fund, managing this effort, or do you do it later? And let's first, LS, get that question answered. And if it's something you can talk about, and if not, we'll move on to the next.
Okay. Yeah. The idea will be, I guess, ultimately, so I don't have that deep track record, right? Like
Right.
some people are in VC for 10 years or they've had that operator experience. I don't. I'm a corporate lawyer in a public company, but I have deep experience of doing transactional work. I've taken companies public. I've done VC, and some of the startups I support, I've helped them get funding. So I do have skill sets. Plus,
Yes, you
ultimately,
do.
and say, when I break it down, the skills that I have is about building culture, which is what pre-seed to seed need. So that's the value add I can help them with. But also, I say Stanley will appreciate this. It's about operationalizing the good stuff. So good governance, good procedures and processes, building a culture where you've got doing the right thing embedded, got diversity and inclusion embedded, and also got sustainability and ESG embedded. Because quite frankly, when you get to sort of Series A, you sort of need to start doing that. And I can tell you, if you don't have it, it's expensive to retrofit. Any retrofitting is always expensive, whatever it is. Doing 100%. That in a company.
So 100%. And let everybody know what ESG stands for, please.
Environment, social governance. Yes. They used to have CSR, corporate social responsibility. ESG is the new buzzword, but ultimately, I think sustainability and impact.
Yeah. So you have set this up really well, and you have, in my humble opinion, a terrific founder market fit for launching a VC firm. If you've sat at the table and had to go through those numbers from taking somebody public or helping someone fundraise, you know what those founders are going through. You know the business of business. And so anyway, that's great. Okay. Then my next question is, what is going to be the investor criteria? So you're going to be looking at companies, right? And they'll be applying maybe you'll have an opportunity for them to apply online. What is that going to look like for you?
In terms of reaching out to investors, there'll be direct approaches through either connections, friends of friends, family offices, I guess leveraging some of my own personal network. And really then trying to get the name out there once I'm able to do so, which means I think for the initial conversations, it's very much, would you be interested? Because then that will trigger the right time to go and get registered.
Yeah.
Which I think I'm going to probably, for the first fund at least, be under. We have this umbrella process in the UK, but ultimately it's strange because I've lived around the world. My network is global. And so when I was looking at it, it's like, well, actually, are my investors going to even be in the UK, because I'm actually starting to feel they're much more likely to be in the US or potentially even Asia.
Yeah.
So that will actually determine where the fund's going to be. Because if you've got your cornerstone investor going, look, I'm in the US and this needs to be here, then, or in the Caymans or wherever
Right.
they want to structure it, then the conversation, what I need to do is different. But it's going to be based on those conversations, and ultimately.
And then you'll need to, have that international legal understanding for when you're
Yeah, and the
closing
good
that
thing
deal.
is, having worked around the world as a lawyer and had private practice in places like Hong Kong and China, your network of good quality lawyers is good, and the connections with them. And I've got to say, actually, I interviewed 3 lawyers the other week, and one spent an hour. It was 2 men and 1 woman, and the first person did not ask me one question at all, which I found surprising, and then told me that they're relatively new and that their practice was basically men. So that doesn't really work for me.
Nope.
The second one was interesting, but doesn't really do fund formation, so sort of not in.
Yep.
The third one said she spent an hour. She's like, look, let me give you an hour of my time and free advice, and here's a load of stuff, and connecting me with some people who, one of which I'm talking to. We're having weekly calls to get to know each other, to understand whether we're a potential fit for partners, joining partners. So that's the sort of advisor I want.
Excellent. Hey, I just wanted to let Jeanette know. Jeanette, we're giving away a free copy of It's About Damn Time by Arlan Hamilton. So post the word #StartupLife in the comments to enter to win. Okay, my dear friend, she's a phenomenal founder. She's a single mom with 5 kids, Kevin. So, she is doing remarkable things with several of her startup companies. And one is wonderful bows for girls to wear in their hairs in their hair, because 4 of her 5 kids are girls. It's wonderful. Hey, would you read this
welcome
next?
To join our community as well, because actually there's a lot of mothers in there. There's one I recall, she actually was having a tough time, and I remember just like, I saw something you posted, so I just reached out to her and said, like, is there anything you need to do? Like, what can I help you with? Because
wow. Jeanette told us the best story, because when everything fell apart and she's at home crying, her twin sister came over and cried with her. And she said, well, that's not helpful. So she pulled herself up together. I've got 5 kids to feed. I've got to get going. So anyway, would you please read Ashley's tweet post comment for me?
This is lovely. It has been amazing to be part of the community Kevin is building. He's brought together so many amazing, diverse founders. Ashley was one of the first in the community, one of the first people I met. Actually, we met at an interesting. She was asking some amazing questions at this event. It was online and around sustainability, actually. So we connected, and then she sort of shared what she's doing, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
I'm really excited about it.
So Ashley and Kevin, how does someone join the community? Because I bet Jeanette would love to join.
Just message me and we'll get you in. It's in a WhatsApp group. I think at some point it will, I aim for it to explode the WhatsApp group so that we actually do have to move to another platform.
I've heard Discord is good. Some people have said so. Yeah. And I'm just going to toot my own horn. Oliver Sanchez, thank you so much for this beautiful comment. He says, Ande was the favorite mentor from our last group of companies we hosted. Great mentor, but more importantly, great human being. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Oliver. I appreciate your generosity and sharing that. It means the world to me. Okay, so, and you chose the UK and Europe as your focus instead of going, for the companies that you're going to invest in, correct?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons for it. For a first fund and an emerging manager, I wanted to focus on a market I understand and a geographical location that's close in proximity. Not knowing how big the fund is going to be yet. Travel. You need to meet these people. It's all well and good to do it online, but when things do open up, we become closer to the sort of world we used to have, or whatever the new normal is. I don't know anymore. I feel like this.
I know.
Like I want to meet these founders, you know,
Yeah,
I want to take
that
their
makes
hand and
that
say,
makes
well done.
sense. Yeah, it
Uh,
makes absolute sense. You can reach everybody. You could, see them in person, even if you've got your mask on and you're at 6 feet away, you're still going to be able to connect with them easily geographically since you're based in the UK. Kevin, what does a successful outcome look like for you with this first fund? Talk about, time period as well. What does that look
um,
like?
I'd like to, ultimately, I'd like to close the fund by probably the end of 2023.
Okay.
Already having deployed capital earlier. If I get the size of fund I want, I think it could allow me to do sort of probably between 50 companies over a period of time,
Hmm.
um, with some follow on. I believe the sort of way I'm modeling it, I think we could have. It's not just it's a patient capital game. Some of it is they're not going to be. Not every single one will be a unicorn, and I'm not trying to find just the unicorns, but I am trying to chase funds or founders that will bring value to what they're trying to do, grow a business. Like at the end of the day, like you're trying to solve a problem through business. So ultimately, it's like growing that business. It
That's
doesn't
right.
have to grow. And look, I use this example today. Netflix was big when technology came to help it. But before, it shipped out DVDs and mail order. That's
That's
what it
right.
did. But we all look at it now and go, oh, what an amazing tech company. Oh, hold on. Uh, it was around for a long, long time before the internet and everything else gave it the
That's right.
opportunity. And that's what some of these companies will be like that. They'll be like, they're too early because the technology doesn't exist right now. So they're going to be working, they're going to building some traction. And it might be at the point where that's the end of the journey from the Diversity X point in terms of the capital, not the
Right.
community or the ecosystem. So we're still going to, I want to be, but then, they might get that bump 10 years, 15 years down the line where the technology like, boom, here,
Boom.
we can do something now. And that's a success for me. So it's
Yes.
been a mix of every business, I hope, will survive and be profitable, generating revenue, have some form of upside.
Yep.
And then, you want the winners too.
Right.
And they'd probably be the ones that we have the follow on for. But once you're in the journey, well, to be fair, once you're in the community, you're in the community. That's it.
That's it. Perfect. I agree, Aristotle, who's commenting perfect. And here's the scoop, folks. The glorification of unicorns is way over the top. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a really strong 10 million, $50 million company. All right. That's really making a difference and has the ability to continue to scale. Should the landscape shift, should more technology come in and give it that opportunity, or 100 million. And frankly, folks, for those small businesses out there, you do 250,000, 500,000, up to $1 million, you are a rock star. Anybody can launch a business and solve a problem that customers are having and have repeat sales and long-term value customers, lifetime value customers. I have to tell you, you are a winner 100%. Do you agree, Kevin?
I do. And look, it might not be the flavor for venture, but there are people who invest in companies like this. And and that's part of the Diversity X is about bringing in those angels to support,
Right.
because everybody deserves the opportunity to have success.
All right. So speaking of success, along the way, because you've had your head down, you've had to help fix a lot of things in your life. Is there a favorite tool or resource that other founders would find helpful? And I'm thinking right here.
That is a great book. I would also say I'm going to share some. Like my friend sent me this, and probably I was having a tough time, but
Oh, I love that. The
it's
Daily
brilliant. It's very
Stoic.
simple. You only have to read one page, and look, there isn't that much on it. Like so, but they're pearls of wisdom. They make you think. Journal, journal everything, your
Yep.
thoughts every single day, and be grateful. Always, I use my journal to write down, but then publicly, I'll use LinkedIn to say thank you to people, because why write it? Why hide my thoughts and my thanks to someone in a journal rather than just saying it? So I do call them or tell them or do it in different ways, but show thanks. And
That's
honestly,
wonderful.
it makes a massive impact.
It does. And anybody's ever gotten a voice message from me knows, sometimes you can just pick it up, hit that mic, and express it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do. I love that. And when you have run into these hard times, because, you shared with us the courage that you found to peel back the onion so that you could be a better man and have a better life and have a better and greater impact on others. But mindset hacks are for real. And you shared the Daily Stoic with us. What's another mindset hack that founders can walk away with that can help them when they're feeling inadequate, overwhelmed, that they're an imposter? What was I thinking? Or one of my favorites, why bother?
Yeah. Do you know what? I did some work with Women in the Law UK about this. I did a presentation on it to them, and it was about being an imposter. And actually, within the Diversity X, we actually had a coach come in to actually talk to us about imposter syndrome. But really, look, everybody I don't know if it's a syndrome or not, but one way or another, people do suffer from it, myself included. Like, I just don't feel I'm good enough, or what am I doing? Am I being really stupid? But I say, forget, like, that is true. You're going to have that. But then I think it's also because you're looking at other people and you're going, they're so confident. Why aren't they having it? The reality is they do have it. It's just that confidence ebbs and flows. So when you see them and you notice that, you just notice the rock star person that's there. But they do have, confidence isn't like that. And it isn't even like that. It's like this. So what I say is focus on courage. Because courage is about taking those simple little steps, step by step, outside of your comfort zone. So push yourself, not like that far, just that far. And then
So you're saying focus on courage?
Focus on your own courage and developing that skill. Don't worry about confidence. Confidence comes through developing courage. And also, you will find your imposter syndrome probably subsides. It's always going to be there. Don't worry about that. That's cool. It keeps you on your toes, by the way. And it makes you also gut check yourself. So I use it as a
I'm going to say focus on courage is definitely a stitch that on a pillow moment. I can see it on the pillow, can't you?
Okay.
Focus on courage, because that will help you dissolve the fears and keep moving forward and continue to build confidence. I mean, remember, founders, what you were doing when you first launched, and you were just thought, oh my gosh, that is just a mountain that is way too big. Now it's just a little blip in the road and you're taking over another mountain. And in 2020, it looks that way. So as you begin on this journey and have walked on this and all, how have you found this entrepreneurship journey serving you both personally and professionally?
It's actually really helped with even my learning that I take into the workplace. Like, I posted something today about office hours. Never heard of it in my life. Never, until I started dealing with startups, and then I saw VCs like doing this thing called office hours. What's this? This is a great idea. Why aren't corporates doing this? Having open doors and having opportunities for people to talk about issues. And like I deal with like ethics and compliance, doing the right thing. Why isn't my door open? Like, so people can come and talk to me. So actually, I'm learning. I get energized by talking to the founders that I get to speak to, and I speak to like 3 or 4 a week in the evenings.
Yes.
And it is a buzz because you look at the problem that they're trying to solve, and it's like, this is amazing. Like, well, one, I didn't even know it's a problem. Now I see why it's a problem, and also I see why you're the right person to solve that problem. And the passion is insane, actually. Like, you talk to Ashley, she's so passionate about what she's doing with femtech and ecotech. It's like, one, it doesn't exist right now. She's creating this, and actually it's really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I see all these people doing like things that, in my head, it's like, how did they even come up with this? Like, where did they? I don't understand how they're doing it.
It's so true, though. That's why mentoring is so much fun. Of course, I get to do this twice a week. I get to do a deep dive on each person's business, ask them questions, get the scoop. And it's just like, it's my favorite thing to just go around celebrating. everything that you all have found the courage and conviction to do. I'm just so in awe and wonder. So I agree with you 100%, Kevin. So let's give away a book. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go. I'm going to hit the draw right now. Boom. Look at all those beautiful faces going by. We're going to find a winner here any minute now. Woo, 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 woo. Who is B? Oh, it's Brent from
Brent.
Brent from Ottawa. Brent, yay! I'm just going to go way back here in the early things. Brent from Ottawa, that's you. You won the book. I know how to find you. I will be in touch with you. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Here's something fascinating about Brent, everybody. He is an other-abled founder. And so he does wonderful Twitter spaces talking about what it's like to have a challenge that many people don't have. And that's a real level of diversity when you're other-abled, right? Especially if you're on the spectrum or you're dealing with, ability to walk or talk, things like that, hear, etc. And you're having to navigate this world. So hooray, Brent, winner, yay. And thank you too for all of you folks commenting and joining us today and putting in the hashtags, etc. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Kevin, any last thoughts before I pop you into the green room?
Yeah. Any LPs, investors just want to chat, shoot the breeze, message me. And I'll say to founders, don't give up. Like keep trying, keep refining. If you do get feedback, take it on board, but don't give up on your dream and stick to your purpose as well. Like keep that as your guiding star.
Bravo, bravo. That's an excellent piece of advice. And I will just add one little thing to that, Kevin. Folks, when you're pitching your business or sharing your business and they want to get into the weeds, just bring them right back to the mission, bring them back to the vision that you have about your business. It's a wonderful way to keep everybody focused on the passion. That's what you're sharing, that dream that you're going through, and stay connected with each other too, because founder peer groups, your community diversity X sounds amazing that you're creating, Kevin. And I have all the information in the show notes. Thank you for joining me, Kevin. I'm going to pop you into the green room while I wrap things up here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for participating in the free giveaway. Thank you for sharing your deliciousness now or via replay. I'm so grateful for your participation. I want to share with you who is coming up next on the Startup Life Live Show. Speaking, of other-abled, we have the so remarkable Rebecca Rosenberg joining us for Fab Female Founder Friday on February 4th at 12 p.m. She is the founder and CEO of Reboke, a startup dedicated to enhancing the lives of those with visual impairments with simple, comprehensive assistive technology solutions. You see, Rebecca was born with oculocutaneous albinism. And this is a condition that affects the body's ability to produce melanin, and it causes moderate to severe visual impairment, as well as reduced pigmentation in the hair, skin, and eyes. And Rebecca is solving a phenomenal problem so people can see the board, people can see slide decks, all sorts of things with an app. She's amazing. She's a smarty pants. So I hope you get back here. And how do you know whenever I post a new show and share an amazing founder? You join the Startup Life Live meetup group. Here, the links are in the show notes. Scan this QR code or visit that bit.ly link. And so just so great. Oh, and how about neurodiversity, says Peter? Absolutely, neurodiversity. And I think that's what our good friend Brent from Ottawa has as an other-abled. And you know what? We all have beautiful brains. So Peter, thank you for popping that up as a last minute comment. And so in the meantime, I just want all of you to remember that you promise that you'll remember you're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you seem. And as we say here in Boston, you're wicked smarter than you think. You've got this. And I'm cheering you on. everywhere you glow. If you need a cheer from me, you be sure to come on over and say hi to me on social media. Follow me, connect with me, and I will cheer you on. I've got a special gift for that, by the way. So until then, I'm wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Thanks again for tuning in. Cheers.